is the land of magic. And don't let those workaday signposts persuade you otherwise. You are making your way with tumbling rivers down from the rolling mountains to glens where the word green means a whole magic paint box full of unbelievable tints and shades. There's a picnic basket in the car, everything for a perfect holiday. And there'll always be a friendly word from some warm-hearted Ulsterman, like this one, who's only too ready to put people on the right road and into the right mood.
It's cushioned all you want. Oh, well, you wind away on down the glen till you get to the main Antrim Coast Road. Aye, and then you turn left. That's the road they say was built by an engineer with a painter and a poet to help.
Cliffs and sea and greenery. The road itself is a ribbon trimmed with the matchless loveliness of the Antrim coast of Northern Ireland, just a few hours from busy London. But all the roads here are good open roads, built to become your private highway to the wildest and sleepiest of dreams. This tranquil coastline, just a hayride away from those haunting glens. All the fun of the Old Lammas Fair at Ballycastle, the fair that brings people flocking in from miles around and from across the world. There's a fair every week somewhere in the 6 counties of Northern Ireland, Ulster. But this one, just once a year, has a special flavour and ring. It only takes an old fiddler to set the youngsters dancing. It's the same up in the hills of Tyrone or down by the Derry coast, among the orchards of County Armagh, or way out in Fermanagh, Ulster's lakeland. On this dancing waterway, you can explore a different island every day of the year. But Devonish is the one that will cast the most compelling spell. Ulstermen say, without a flicker of the eye, that Devonish Island, with its ruined monastery, is the meeting place of the Lakeland's fairy folk. The captain of the pleasure boat in person will fill in those bits of folklore which will etch these islands into your memory. And he'll point out the perfect spot where you can sit all day and cast for the sweetest of trout. But there are all sorts of ways to blaze a trail of happiness across these lochs. County Tyrone, or in Armagh, or any of the other counties, there are flashing streams which are wide open to fishermen, often as not at no cost whatsoever. There's good game salmon, huge fighting pike, and in Loch Earn, the heaviest trout to be found in the British Isles. No traffic jams anywhere in Northern Ireland, and good open roads through scenery as unspoiled as a village beauty. And always a warm and a helpful word when you ask the way. You've got clubs, racket, tackle in your car, and you're ready for whatever sport you enjoy. The cream of the world's motorcyclists compete on this famous Grand Prix circuit. There are, of course, quieter ways of getting about this unchanging countryside. On a jaunting car, the world goes by at just the right pace. Back in the 5th century, St. Patrick, the patron saint, was brought to Northern Ireland as a 16-year-old slave boy who was put to work on a farm, the legend runs, on Slemish Mountain. Is this the countryside St. Patrick knew?
Yes, this is Slemish. And sure, St. Patrick himself was a herdsman on this very spot, Slemish Mountain. And if you walk through our lovely country in his footsteps, you'll end up wishing from your heart at a wishing well.
There are wishing wells, linked by legend with holy places, all through St. Patrick's country, though none so famous as these at Struel, near Saul, where he founded the church. From his statue on the heights over Strangford Loch, you can see the place where he started preaching his faith. You can map out a pilgrimage to follow the St. Patrick story through green country, alive with memories. County Down is as rich in its links with the saint as it is with the legendary giants who played monster games of marbles with mountaintops around Downpatrick. There, the little church at Saul, built to his memory. Armagh, the religious capital of Ireland. The Roman Catholic Cathedral. The Protestant Cathedral. Back in Downpatrick is the saint's burial stone. But this pilgrimage doesn't end here. This pilgrimage takes you on to one of the holy wishing wells. You'll tie a wish by ribbon to a fairy bush, a link with pre-Christian faiths and hopes. Nobody in Ulster will ever let you forget that this is the land of magic, where there really are fairies up to their impish tricks.
But of course there are fairies. That's why we'll plough round this fairy thorn, or we'd be asking for trouble. My dad tells of Johnny MacLeod. He cut a branch from this gentle bush, this very one. Let's see, that'd be about 40 years ago. And the next day, 40 of his sheep dropped dead. That's why we keep on the right side of the fairy folk. You see them, you don't see them.
You'll rub your eyes and wonder whether you're seeing fairy folk yourself among the thorn trees and the green symphonies of the meadows and glens, contrived by nature to give you a midsummer night's dream every day of the magical year. How could there be such a thing as the Giant's Causeway unless there was magic all around? The great roadway that the Ulster giant, Finn McCool, laid out in an effort to get to grips with his rival across the sea. Carrickfergus Castle and the Ulster magic now lies in such reminders of the stark history of this wild coast. But today these castles are just another call for music as brave as the battles of the past, for the skirl of the pipes and the swirl of the Ulster kilt.
This is the Roaring Meg, and from these walls helped in the defence of Londonderry during the famous siege of 1688-1689. Now, for 105 days, the gallant citizens of Derry repelled the invader until the river boom was broken and the city relieved.
Londonderry today has woven the memories of that great siege into her civil life, that still centres round the cathedral which overlooks the old city walls. Here the bands parade with pride combined with their lilt and swing. These are the sons and successors of the apprentices who closed the gates in the face of the enemy and rallied the threatened city. Today there are Derry men all over the world, proud to come home for initiation into the apprentice guilds that immortalize the city's hungry, heroic defense. So many facets of the Ulster magic. Here on the holiday beach, enchanting enough in itself as a summer playground, there's the added fascination of a wishing arch. You put your hand on the rock and wish that this holiday could last forever. A string of resorts give gay punctuation to 300 miles of coast, where land and sea play hide and seek with one another. Newcastle, Bangor, the superb beaches of Port Stewart, Castle Rock, Port Rush. A score of seaside wonderlands in Derry, Antrim, and the famous County Down. Achaidh, and all you need is a dinghy, a gentle breeze, and the deep blue sea. The whole coast has been carved out into perfect bays and harbours for people who love nothing better than the creak of a rope and the wind singing in a sail. There's modern man-made magic, too. If it's a magical experience to sleep in the turret of a haunted castle and have a drink in a dungeon bar. What better way of crowning a day packed full of evergreen memories?
There you are, Joe. 6 and 6. There the boy. Thanks very much. Well, boys, this is the story of the talking pigeon. Pat says to Meg, did you ever hear a pigeon talking? No, says Mike, there's no such thing. But there is, says Pat, for I've got a talking pigeon. You have not.
A Belfast pub is a place of laughter and legendary reminiscences. In the old-style snugs you'll find round any bar, you can sit with a pint of porter and meet the friendliest of people, always ready for a joke or a chat.
I see it, there was still no sign of it at all. Says Mick, there's no such thing as a talking pigeon. But at 9 o'clock, a tap, tap, tapping came on the front door, and when they opened it, there was a talking pigeon standing on the doorstep. What kept you, said Pat? Said the talking pigeon, it was such a fine night that I thought I'd just walk it over here.
You won't find a talking pigeon in Belfast Smithfield Market, but you'll find other things almost as curious. Here, where the old order is so topsy-turvy that a teenager can sell a middle-aged busman a guitar. The perfect place for you to go on a treasure hunt. From the Ulster magic, we've come blinking into the bustle of a big modern city. There's colour wherever you care to look for it, in the lively city of Belfast. And often as not, those green hills of Ulster at the end of the street. This is the place to buy linen. You must take back some Irish linen, the linen that generations of Ulster women so deftly wove. And make way now for the Lord Mayor, aldermen and councillors, and a splash of the old-time pageantry that is part of Belfast life. Stormont, the seat of the Northern Ireland government on the outskirts of this capital city, is surrounded, as it should be, by the greenery over which it presides. And at last, those magical mountains of Mourne. And the question is, which way to that next hidden valley?
Silent Valley? Sure, all the valleys are silent here, especially when we've got the sheep up on the mountain. No, you carry straight along this road. You see over there where the sun's picking out the sheep among the blue of the heather? Well, you bear left there. Aye, left. You come straight down to it.
This is the perfect place for doing nothing. This is where you can hear deep silences. Silences that softly turn to music as each shifting change of light carves out new contours of loveliness. Magic, magic, magic. You come full circle. These are the hills you saw when you first landed. It's the picture you'll take home with you in your mind.